Well, hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Chicago. Welcome back to Lincoln Park. It's good to be back here. Just got back from the Texas trip. What do we got? June the 18th, 2025. I'm starting early today because there's rain coming. I must have brought the thunderstorms back from Houston, Texas. That's where I was at over Father's Day with my dad there and visited my sister, my brother-in-law, my 3 nephews there. It was great. But every single day it rained. Yeah, it would start off sunny, just like today. The sun peeped out, and then the storms would build up, and they're very active all across the central and southern part of the United States. There's been storms. But hey, Krista, thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, thanks for letting me have a vacation. I know I was traveling the past 2 days, so Friday, Monday and Tuesday I missed the YouTube here, but now we're back at it here. Wednesday we'll hopefully stream tomorrow. We'll get back to my regular schedule. Juneteenth tomorrow. We'll probably walk along the beach to check out people picnicking. I'm all for Juneteenth. I gotta work tomorrow because we don't get the day off, even though it's a federal holiday. It's isn't that amazing? But hopefully you'll get the day off, and we'll enjoy people celebrating. I think we all should celebrate Juneteenth. You know, it's good that we can celebrate that we moved beyond that horrible period in our history. How can we have a modern society that had enslaved people? So we will celebrate the outcome of the American Civil War there, and when people found out about it. I was near Galveston. Galveston's where Juneteenth started, Texas, the Houston area. Of course, they celebrate it down there. Hey, Nisi G, Julianne, Krista, Taco, how you doing there? Thanks for coming on early. Appreciate it there. Mary Therese, thanks for tuning in there. I just saw you there. Thanks, Mary Therese. Hope you're doing well. Danny. And if I missed anybody else there at the top there, thanks, Mary Therese, Danny. And Lambie T, how you doing there? Yeah, thanks for... I know it was hard. Every time I go on vacation, my schedule gets erratic. People don't know where to find me. Half the time I'm just answering hundreds and thousands of questions. Why are you in Texas? Are you moving to Texas? No. I just, as much as I try to let people know in advance, send people messages, I don't want to telegraph every move I do, because then, people could break into my place when I'm gone there. You know how it is. They say never put that online, but I'm kind of a quasi-public figure now by choice, because I choose to do this live streaming, and then people are like, where you at? Why are you in Texas? And everybody's all confused, and everybody's got their own schedule. And here, I'm gonna get a drink of water here. What is that? But we'll just tootle through the park here. I'm trying to beat the rainstorm here. We'll get across before this bus comes here. But Michael's tuning in there. Christopher, how you doing there? Yeah, you see, that's Christopher. Thanks for checking out some of my Texas stream there. And yeah, we did get on YouTube or on TikTok. I did get to the city of Houston on YouTube. We did the Woodlands, the Waterway, and we did Spring, Texas at Railroad Town. Hey, people were walking with the dogs here. We'll just check out the North Pond, and I'm just gonna tootle over. Maybe we'll get a glimpse of the lake, and then we'll just head back through the park and go through the zoo. I'm not gonna check out all the animals today. I'm just kind of gingerly, loungily walking around here. I overslept this morning, people, since when I got on that Amtrak train last night in Effingham. I was really tired. I tried to sleep on the train. I didn't get really good sleep, got in late, and then I couldn't. I didn't sleep well last night. First thing I learned, Christopher, I'm sure you can relate, if you're tired or grumpy or something else on your mind, the comments will get to you. So I chose not to, not some of the comments, I chose not to live stream this morning because I didn't want to be all grumpy. And so I feel better now. I got some work done this morning, went to a meeting already. Here's a heron. We saw some of these herons in Texas. I couldn't believe some of these herons were in Herman Park there in Houston, and then we're seeing the same herons up here in Chicago. That shows you how much they migrate. And what is that? Is there some, let me see. Yeah, there's some, what is that? Is that something right there? I can't tell if that's, no, it's just a piece of wood. Yeah, we'll see. We see some turtles here in the North Pond. We saw some turtles in Herman Park. Yeah. So, yeah, I saw that, yeah, I saw, yeah, I'm not going to get into politics just yet there. But, yeah, Michael, the train finally came about 6:25, 6:30 maybe. It was about a half an hour late. It was supposed to get into Effingham 5:54. Maybe it was 5:20, 6:24 when it finally arrived. They were working on the tracks, but I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I saw people send me messages. There was delays due to the freight trains, and that always happens, the conflict between freight trains and Amtrak. Amtrak doesn't have the right of way on a lot of these train tracks, and I think games are being played. But yeah, the Illini and Saluki Amtrak trains are notoriously behind schedule. But we got into Chicago about 9:30. I got home about 10:30 because I took the train, the CTA train there, and walked back to my place. And I should have just went to bed then. I didn't go to bed until like 2, 3 in the morning, and that's why I overslept. Because, you know, I was glad to be home, and it was, my air conditioner's installed. I had a bunch of mail. Things were on my mind, but we had a great trip. My dad had a good time. That's the most important thing. My dad made it back home. He made it back home before I made it. He dropped me off at Effingham and drove back to southern Indiana. I'm sure he's going to be mowing his grass. I think his neighbors probably mowed his grass when he was gone, because that's a big deal. Everybody mows their grass, and they see their neighbor's grass. They're like, "Can I mow your grass?" I think that's, you know, it's, people like to mow the grass. There, look, the traffic lights are out. There were some storms overnight. Look, it looks like she's working on it. She's working on the switch box there. There's your transportation department. But I know there's all kinds of crazy world events going on there. Yeah, summer day in Indy there. There you go. Lady T there. So, I was getting some sun. Yeah, it's been a lot of rain all throughout the part of June here, all throughout the country here. Look at the, yeah, there's the Peggy Notibart. Here, we'll head around here. What's with all these political sycophants? I'm used to Americans, no matter who's the president, we all criticize the presidents, no matter who's president. I criticize Biden. I criticize Trump. That's part of my armchair quarterbacking. It's tough to be the king. I'm not talking. Trump would like to be a king. I'm more on the side of the no kings protest. I missed all that. I know people are confused. They try to fish out my political leanings. Or yeah, I'm on YouTube. How you doing? That's good. Hey, that's good. Thanks for watching. That's great. Hey, I'm back in Chicago. People are already giving shout outs here. That's great. See, it only happens in Chicago. That's why I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Here we'll see people celebrating Juneteenth. And then we got the 4th of July coming up. We got a bunch of, I missed the Puerto Rican parade, but we got other parades coming up there. I saw Christopher, I saw you stream the Puerto Rican parade there in the Bronx, or New York City, which was great. We in Chicago, we did it in Humboldt Park, and Steve Lyon did it last weekend when I was in Texas. I'm glad that Steve Lyon was able to cover the Puerto Rican parade. I missed all the protests downtown. I know there was a bunch of protests, not only in Chicago, but nationwide. I know there was a big parade in Washington, D.C. I saw it on TV. And we'll get into politics soon enough. And yeah, I'm very concerned about this Mideast conflict between Israel and Iran. It could spiral in any number of directions. I'm sure it might affect the price of gas and oil. It's amazing it hasn't really affected it as much. There's as much tensions as there is now, but we'll see how it plays out. So here, look, we'll go across this pedestrian bridge. We've been here many times before. People recognize exactly where I'm at. Here's the lunch bunch. Here's the Peggy Notibart. Nature Museum. They were doing a graduation the last time we were here. They were playing Pomp and Circumstance. I just want to check. The flowers are so beautiful. The flowers are really starting to take shape here. Here's the North Pond Casting Pier. We'll head out there. I'll get your comments here. It's really hot in North Carolina. Getting some great shows. There, the Woody Wickham Butterfly Garden. Look, there's some geraniums, some flowers here. Let's head through this little path. And yeah, that's what's so nice about the tall grass natural prairie areas here by the Peggy Notobart. All summer long and into the fall, different waves upon waves of different flowers that bloom throughout the summer and fall. We'll give you all kinds of different color here. We got the purples and the blues here. And track butterflies, yeah. You see some butterflies flying around here. Jim, how you doing there? Yeah, get some great shows there. You just got chased out of your garden? Lightning? Hey, see there, that's why I'm live streaming early. We got storms coming, so I'm working from home today. Obviously, I'm not downtown. Hope to head down tomorrow. I should be back to my normal live streaming schedule as long as I get to bed at a decent hour tonight. We'll do TikTok in the morning from 6:30 to 8. They should have the farmers market tomorrow. We'll see if there's any Juneteenth celebrations there at Daily Plaza or anywhere else in the loop. And then in the evening, we'll probably walk back along the beach. Weather permitting, we'll see what the weather should be sunnier. It looks like it's finally going to get hot and humid here heading into the end of June for the weekend. So I saw some sun in the forecast. It'll be nice beach weather. So here, look at that. I think there's the Michigan Avenue Art Fairs going on this weekend. Maybe we'll see them starting to set up for it Thursday and Friday. I know there's Pride Fest up further north there, North Halstead, but the actual big main event, the Gay Pride Parade's not until following weekend. So we'll give you updates about that moving forward here. So here we'll head around. How you doing here? Hey, they got these. Sometimes they hang like bird feeders there from here. We'll head back around. We'll go by the North Pond here. Your grandnephews. Oh, the farmers market. Yeah. So I missed it this morning. Usually on Wednesdays and Saturdays in Lincoln Park, there's a farmers market there, and then there's the one in Daily Plaza, which happens tomorrow. So I don't know if you mean the one in Lincoln Park or the one in downtown at Daily Plaza, but either one, that's great that you're. Hey, that's good. Hey, how you doing? That's great. That's awesome. That's good. So here, friends and neighbors here. Hey, just heading through the park here. Let's see, I'm trying to catch up on the comments here. They're flying by too fast. Your nephew's working that market. That's great. Hey, we lost a tree here. There must have been some storm damage. So they cut down some trees there. And hey, look at the gurgle of the aerator there for the... It's a cauldron. It really churns up the water there, but they aerate, get oxygen in the water there for the aquatic life. And butterflies are liking the flowers here. Peggy Notobart Nature Museum. Yeah, Dolores is tuning in. Krista, Jim. Downtown, the downtown one. Yeah, well, maybe we'll see him there tomorrow there. Hope to get downtown there. Summer day. Yeah, thanks for following me back there. So, yeah, look at that nice view to Lincoln Park. Lincoln Park here. Both the neighborhood and the park. Sometimes we see squirrels. They live in these trees right there. The bird's taking a dirt bath. There's the casting pier. There, look at that nice bridge there over the Peggy Notobart. Little plaza here. East Lansing there, Chris. That's good. Yeah, I started early today. The reason I started early, I just put a message there. I don't know if anybody gets my updates there on YouTube. I think, yeah, Taco got it and Lambie T got it. I quickly, about 20 minutes ago, I put a message on there that I was going to start early today because I checked the radar. There's storms moving this way. It might rain most of the afternoon. I'm hoping there'll be a break so I can stream my usual time after 5 o'clock tonight on TikTok, but we'll see. We'll head through this tall grass prairie area here. Look at these. Check out the flowers early in the summer here. And you got to watch for, there's the red-tipped blackbirds. They'll dive bomb you. And yeah. There, see, you can walk along that catwalk there at the Peggy Notobart. We've done that before. We got reruns. Here, look at all the birds. You can hear the birds. Nah, trying to beat the storm. You got it. See, wherever I go, like I was dealing with the same thing in Houston. Sometimes it would rain in the morning. Sometimes it would rain in the afternoon. I had to dodge around. It was some heavy rain too. Crazy lightning. See, no camping, but there's a green roof up there, and then the water can filter down. I'm really hoping, see, they still don't have the Caldwell Lily Pool open, which depresses me. This is the second season in a row they've had it closed. I'll have to revive my reruns from 2 years ago when we used to walk through there. You can't imagine why it's closed for such a long period here. You want your yard? Yeah, it's easier to maintain. If you do tall grass, you know, think about the monoculture of the Kentucky bluegrass front mowed lawn. You know, that's the American ideal, the American dream. There's a squirrel. But I see a lot of people, not only in Chicago, I saw it in Houston too, people with smaller yards, and even like in drier climates like Arizona, you do like a cactus yard, or you do a tall grass prairie yard, and it's easier to maintain. Ground cover, you don't have to mow this. It goes back to the English gardens. People prove, you know, the aristocracy. Like, and think about it, before the lawnmowers, how would you get a manicure? You had a bunch of labor, either forced labor or, you know, servant labor there for your aristocracy to mow the lawn, or even in America, antebellum America. And it wasn't until the 50s and the suburban lawnmower, it became like everybody. And you know, what do you do with your front yard? It's just to set up, show your house. You know, you sit in the backyard. Here's the big buffalo. We always show the big buffalo here in front of the Peggy Notobart Nature Museum here. We'll head across here. We'll head by Diversity Harbor. Yeah, 600 plant life. There it is, Peggy Notobart Nature Museum. Take a photo with their bison. There you go. Modern bison. Yeah, World of Bands lawn mowing. Yeah, just let it grow up. I know, you know, Chicago mows the parks because they were back to the civil rights movement in the 60s, and the hippies and the civil rights protesters of the 60s. They were worried about people hiding behind bushes in the park, so they didn't have, like, they wouldn't let areas grow up like this because they were afraid of people, all the hippies hiding in there and protesting, camping out. But now they're starting to let it grow back up. We'll see what happens if we enter another era of protest here. But here I'm going to run across the street. Here is Cannon Drive. I actually should head to the crosswalk here, but once I get across the street here, I'll check out the comments there. Oh, the cabbage. Yeah, they got a bunch of gardens here. There's that upside down tree there, that sculpture. So, yeah, Ronnie's tuning in there. Jim, I like your comment there. Yeah, dream in a world of bands lawn mowing. Yeah, see, you could just let your lawn grow up like this. It actually retains the moisture better. You know, if you worry about drought conditions, you know, you don't have to water your lawn as much. You know, I blame golf courses. Golf courses is what I'm always amazed. You know, years past I would fly into Phoenix for spring training or something, and the winter, to get out of Chicago winter, and you look down, you see all those pools, and you see the green golf courses there in the middle of the desert with nicely mowed short grass, and the amount of water it takes to maintain that. There's the backside of that obelisk where the Chicago fire burned out. But hey, we're back in Chicago. We got about 80 degrees. It's a little cooler by the lake. That's still this time of the year. The lake helps you out. You get the natural air conditioning by the lake. But I'm very happy my air conditioning is installed. Helps me sleep at night when you get the humid air. And made it all the way to the middle of June before I had to turn on that AC, which I know Houston, they've had it on since February. You were a hippie heading in the parks, Jim. You know what I'm talking about. Were you here in '68? We got a few other people like Kevin and other people that were actually here when I filmed like the old statues there down by the Blackstone Hotel where the police riot happened there in '68. The whole world's watching. You remember that? I guess before that in Lincoln Park, the hippies had a concert. The MC5 played, and they had like free stores, and they tried to camp out in the park, but I think they were chased out by the police. And that leads to that whole thing. They didn't want bushes and places for the protesters to hide, so the police cars could cruise through the park and they could look all the way to the other side and see if anybody was hiding there. So here, we'll check out this mural here. This is underneath Fullerton. We're Fullerton near the lake here. Fullerton Drive Underpass, built 2012. Oh, they updated it. It's been here for a lot longer. Life cycle, day and night, 2023. Gloria Talamontes. So here is just, look, they got, just like the one that goes under Lakeshore Drive, they got some ecology, bugs, and nice colors here. Kind of evokes the lake and the sun and nature. And this is like the running path. There's a big running path that goes from Belmont Harbor all the way down to North Avenue, and this gets you underneath Fullerton without having to cross it. Isn't that nice? Quattro, how you doing there? Chris, how you doing? I saw the nice videos of Maddie. Hope you're doing well, and everybody else. See what else we've been. Lady T. Yeah, and the grass is no good there. Oh, your boss called a meeting. Yeah, I'll work all the time. I know what it's like there. The ground cover. Yeah, grass was wealth. So that's why, yeah, that's why it became the suburban ideal. It was the way to dispel that you had enough money to have a nice manicured lawn, and then everybody, the middle class, tried to copy that. You know, just like giant houses, McMansions, 6 cars in the garage, and yeah, just playing. How you doing there? That's good. So let's see here. It's raining in Aurora. Yeah, I know the rain's on its way. Thanks for my friends in the western suburbs. Hey, we got the crew boats here, so we'll be able to film some of the crew boats. Sometimes they have regattas here. This is that rowing slip. Here, you get around the trees here. Of course, the trees are always in the way. Oops. I gotta watch where I'm stepping here. A bunch of landmines. There's the crew boats. There's the crew boats in the rowing slip here. So we'll get to see these people practicing here. So you can row there, stroke. They got the guy with the megaphone there training them. There's the solo rower. But you see how this is this little rowing slip next to the DeSable Lakeshore Drive. You see how it's being undermined. A lot of it, the walls are starting to fall in. What happened is the water got really low, and then it got really high, and then it got low again. And see how it's undermining the shore walls here, and it's really bad further down. So we don't know. They're probably going to have to get money to fix this eventually. That's underneath Fullerton. There's a crew boat. We'll see if we get this crew boat going by. That's good, Heather B. That's good. Yeah, just use me like a radio. Chris does the same thing. You're working while you're driving, or you can just put it on as a radio there, and if something crazy happens, then you can look, because I'll be freaking out. But otherwise, it's just my radio station commentary here. So there used to be a bridge that went across here. And remember when Jennifer You Should Eat talks about somewhere in where the Lincoln Park Zoo, there was another bridge where some tragedy happened. But this, I don't think, maybe it was this bridge or a different bridge. There used to be a bridge here. Here comes the crew boat here. Yeah, we'll get the crew boat going by here. Yeah. Doesn't that look relaxing there? Getting the crew boat, just like the rowing machine there. You don't need a Nordic track, you could just do it for real. There's a boat club over here. See, there's the trainer there and his little, he's got a motor. Oh, you had a dental implant. Oh, Naya, hope that turns out well. Are you got Novocaine there? Are you all numbed up? There's a geese. How you doing there, goose? There's this. See, yeah, there used to be a bridge that went across here, but they removed it and they replaced it with this Fullerton Bridge here. Here comes, yeah, well, this will be great. So you can see there's the edge of, that's Lake Point Tower, Navy Pier's down that way. You can't see the John Hancock views of the trees, but here we'll get this crew boat going by here. Yeah, Cobra Chicken there. Ralph, how you doing there? Yeah, you gotta watch out for the goose. It'll get me. It'll sneak up from behind here. But here, there's the crew boats going by here. So this goes on all season long here. They sometimes they'll have like much longer boats with like 7 people in it, and then these got 2, and then this one's a solo rower, and they go back and forth. They don't really go into Diversity Harbor. They turn around under the bridge here, and they got there you see he's got to come along here. Yeah, isn't this nice? Reminds you, like, it's like we're in Boston there next to Cambridge there. Yeah, rowing along there. JT Walsh. Yeah, Tara, doesn't that look like, yeah, you go north to the Boston downtown there, that back bay, and yeah, you see how they're turning around under the bridge, a real low bridge there. So what time we got? 11:29. Okay, let's keep on going here. I don't want to go too far away from where I live in case the rain comes. There's already rain in Aurora. You see how, that's why I'm streaming earlier today. Tara, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. I'm glad you caught the YouTube here. Hey, we had a great trip to Texas there. Just got back late last night. We left Houston suburbs Monday morning. We ended up in Little Rock. I wanted to go to Hot Springs, but my dad talked me out of it. He felt like it would be too long of a drive from Hot Springs to Effingham, so we drove a little further, and I convinced him to stop in Little Rock so we could check out that Pinnacle Peak. Like a dummy, I went the wrong trail because I didn't know where I was going, and it's probably good. The trail actually, Pinnacle Peak, when you're near the top, it's really rocket and rugged. There would be no way my father could do it with the cane. We did a much easier path, but we saw the little waterfalls and stuff, but we did get a nice overlook of the Arkansas River, and we were able to see Pinnacle Peak off in the distance, and so I posted the rerun of that. Caught the Amtrak last night, even though it was delayed. But here's the parking lot for the Lincoln Park Zoo. I'll show you, there's a good view to the John Hancock here. This is the parking lot for the Lincoln Park Zoo. We'll walk through the zoo since it's a free zoo. There you can see the, hey, we're back in Chicago. There's the John Hancock. And there's the 900 North Michigan. June the 18th. 2025. Tomorrow's Juneteenth, June the 19th. Tornado spotted in Pittsfield. Oh no! So we got a tornado warning in Pittsfield, Illinois. Thanks for the good information. Hopefully everybody's okay. Is anybody tuning in from that area there? No, I took the Brown line. I just walked from the train I was on went from Carbondale through Champaign to Union Station, Chicago. I think it was called the Illini, either the Saluki or the Illini, one of those. Got into Union Station about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I walked over to the Quincy stop on the Brown line, rode a loop around. I could have live streamed, but I was so tired I was so tired, I left one of my bags outside my door last night. It only had my dirty laundry in it. Somebody was like, oh, you left your bag out there. And I was like, oh. And he said, no one stole it, but it was just my dirty laundry. So someone could have stolen my dirty laundry because I didn't take it inside my apartment. I left it like out in the hall. I didn't realize, I was looking for it. I was like, where? And I was so tired that when I got in my place, I left one of my bags like outside my door. But I'm still, don't feel back to 100%, but hopefully I'll get a good sleep tonight. Been working from home, went to some meetings, checked email, and I know you guys are probably working too, some of you. But here we'll show you. There's the Lincoln Park Boat Club's over here. What it is, you can join the Lincoln Park Rowing Club. Is that what it is? If you want to do the crew boats, or they got kayaks, I think, here. And see how it's hidden, because underneath there's a mound here, and actually in the earth, like a hobbit hole, they got the storage for the crew boats, and they have a dock area here for the rowing crewing slip here. Here, I'll show it to you. It's called the Lincoln Park Boat Club. You can look online here. Most people don't know this is here. It's got rowing, kayaking, canoeing, adaptive. There it is, www.lpboatclub.org. You can check out the website here, the Lincoln Park Boat Club Chicago. And look, let's show it to you here. They got the, hopefully they'll be fine. I just want to show people what this looks like here. And I thought about joining this. It's like a few $100s. You can see how they got storage in there for the crew boats. See all the crew boats in there. And here it is, Lincoln Park Boathouse. And if you're a member, they'll give you access to that door there, and you can, isn't this great? You can just, you got this nice launching area here. And see, they got kayaks stored up there. And you can go right on the water here. But you gotta belong to the club. This isn't a public dock there. And here we'll get the crew boat going by here. Oop. Lincoln Park Boathouse. See, I'm so tired, I'm stumbling with my steps here. Yeah, thanks Critter Bones there. How you doing there? Thanks everybody for tuning in here. See, you get like a key card there to get in and out. They kept it propped open. Don't ruin the secret here. Here's a multi. Yeah, here's some. We'll watch these people coming by here. Yeah, Christy, thanks for catching me there. Yeah, I know it was hard to catch me there. I streamed Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday last week. If you go back in the live reruns tabs there on YouTube, you can see we did the waterway there at the Woodlands Hughes Landing, and then we did on Thursday we did Spring, Texas, which is a railroad historic town. We went to Wunche Brothers, which is a old saloon hotel, and they said it was a brothel. Probably a lot of hotels of that period were brothels anyway, especially in Texas. Here's hey, there's a four-person. Hey, look, one boat goes one way, one goes the other there. Look at that. Welcome to Lincoln Park, Chicago, right here near the Lincoln Park Boat Club. And there goes the crew. Wow, they're trucking. Look at them go. Hey, they're all in unison there. Stroke. Look at that. Yeah, that is awesome. Teamwork. So here, Lincoln Park Boat Club, Chicago. Rowing, SUP, kayaking, canoeing, adaptive. There's the website. Teams and classes for juniors and adults. It's www.lpboatclub.org. You can check it out if you live in the area there, if you want to do this. There's all these, it just costs money. Hey, good, Craig. Thanks, Christy. Thanks for watching the reruns. Yeah, we're back. Okay, so we'll just head through the zoo here. What time we got? 11:36. It's a little overcast. The sun did peep out briefly this morning. You can see there's some nice, this running path, it's gravel, heads all the way down to North Avenue this way. This way you can take it all the way up to Belmont. It goes through Lincoln Park, part of Lakeview. Ernie, thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, I'm glad you saw that. Yeah, we saw the train go through there. Thanks for watching that there. And we've been there before, but I know some people might not have saw the content from last year. So here we'll head over to the main entrance to the Lincoln Park Zoo from the parking lot. And you got to pay for parking, but the zoo's free. So if you don't bring your car, you don't have to pay for parking. And people use this parking lot for North Avenue Beach too. It's a little hike, but you can go that bridge we always go across there to get to North Avenue Beach. We'll check out the beaches tomorrow. I want to see people picnicking and having a day off and enjoying the Juneteenth holiday. And I'll be heading downtown. I don't get the day off, and I just took 4 days off last week, and I took 2 days off this week, so I'm burning through my personal time there. So here, look at that. There's the but there probably won't be anybody in the office tomorrow, because hopefully most people will be taking the day off, as they should. Here, this is called the Powerhouse Gate, and I don't know why it's called that. Look at that nice view you get from the parking lot to the John Hancock there. Yeah, you take the bus. Yeah, you take the 156 or the 151 up Stockton, and it'll drop you off right in front of we'll exit that entrance closest to the bus stop. You could take the red, brown, or purple lines, but it's a walk either from the Armitage or the Fullerton. Fullerton's probably the closest stop. You just head down Fullerton. Hey, we got some nice landscaping here. Here's the lion. I think I've rarely shown this lion sculpture. There's a lion sculpture. Here's the main entrance to the Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago from the parking lot here. Here, Lincoln Park Zoo, Wildlife for All. And we'll just head right through. They got a visitor center. Yeah, let's check out this visitor center. I usually never enter this way. They got restrooms. They got a visitor center. They got a little, there's some people in there. You get information. You can ask some questions. Member center. People are friends of the zoo. What's in bloom today? Oh, look, they got samples here. What's in bloom today at the Lincoln Park Zoo? Here's what we got. Common 9-bark, Japanese rose. Look at this beautiful Salvia ramorosa, meadow sage, giant fleece flower, daylily, bee balm. And you can see where it's at. You can see where the flowers are at here. What's in bloom today? Lincoln Park Zoo. There's the visitor center, member services, restrooms. There's the merry-go-round. And here's the lions. Oh, the lions are out. So let's go in the lion house. Let's see if we can catch these lions. These are pretty close. They're licking each other there. They're making out. Look like they're nice and hot, but the lions like it hot. Even though the lions are pretty hairy, they can deal with the heat. Tara, Naya, Ernie, that's good. Yeah, Travell. Yeah, it's hot. It's 80 degrees. Hey, the babies are out in the wagons, and let's go see if we can catch the lions here. There's some flowers that way. The gift shop's that way. You got to exit through the gift shop. So what's with the threatening messages about ICE? Or you feel like powerful when you do that? Like, we're entering the fascist era of America, where we got like brown shirts, masked men. All I ask is for ICE to show their face. If you're a U.S. citizen arresting non-U.S. citizens, you should at least have the courage. And I know people are trying to protect their families. We don't want it to be the goon squad, and we don't even know who these people are. Maybe you're part of it. It is to inflict fear and terror, and that's the point. It's supposed to be intimidation, and that's supposed to thank you, appreciate it. But that's just my personal opinion. Let's check out the lions here. Let's check out the lions. Hey, look at that. Look at the mane. Look at that lion there. Lincoln Park Zoo. Pepper Family Wildlife. Gets pretty crowded here. Hey, they got some meet the farmers here. There's the lions. They got some bones there. I'm gonna try to get down. Let's see if we can go down through here. We might not be allowed to. Is it fine if I walk through there? Oh, we can't. Okay. So they got it private for some reason today. Okay, good. So we'll head around here. We'll try to film the lions as much as we can. Here we go. Look at that. Licking their paws. Hey, look at that. Hey, look at this one. There's another lion here. They got plenty of room to range around here. There, look at this one chewing on the bones there. Look at that. Oh, that's some good eating right there. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Dolores, and that's what I'm worried about too. That's why people remember it's also a federal crime to impersonate a police officer, and you know we're in this gray area where we really don't want the military to be used, because then the military's used as a police power, which that's separated the home rule of local jurisdictions to control their own police. And it's the same thing with the battle between the states calling up the National Guard or the federal calling up the National Guard. These are the separation of powers between the states and the federal government. If you believe in a constitutional republic and the separation of powers in the Constitution, you should be concerned about the power grab that the federal government is trying to do now. But I won't get into that now. We'll film the lions here. It shows you everything's political, even filming lions. People will try to hijack the conversation and switch to whatever they want to talk about. But this is my channel, and we'll maintain the narrative here. Here's the lions here. They're heading around here. So, thank you.
They're working to keep those.
So there's restrooms downstairs on the other side. There's the haunted restrooms are on the other side. There are haunted restrooms. You can ask Ernie about those. Thank you. Let's see here. So this is the Lincoln Park Zoo. It's about 3 miles north of the Loop of Chicago, the downtown Chicago. So it's on the north side. There's also the Brookfield Zoo, which is on the west side in the suburbs. This is the free zoo within the city. It's called the Lincoln Park Zoo. You can look on a map there. You can type in Lincoln Park Zoo in Google Earth. It'll show you right where it's at. You got the internet right in your hands. Thanks for tuning in. Let's quickly see if the flamingos are out. I don't have much time to check out the animals today. We're trying to get an hour live stream in before the rain comes here. And yeah, it's a nice zoo. And it's nice. The price is right. It's free. That's why I can just easily walk through here and create some content here. There's a nice waterfall. The reptile house is over there. Hey, the ducks always like swimming around in this waterfall here. See, and this is part, just like within Lincoln Park, we got a zoo here. We were in Herman Park in Houston. It had a zoo, but that was a pay zoo. But it's the same thing, an urban park right within the heart of the city. And there is a free Japanese garden within Herman Park. I got a rerun of that on TikTok. We did that on Friday last week, yeah. Here, we'll see if the flamingos are out here. What happened here? Yeah, John James, yeah. We miss John James, and every once in a while his partner will like a video, and John James still has an account there, which is great. And yeah, that's good there. Yeah, thanks, Carrie. I guess Carrie was talking about, oh, Michael was talking about John James. Oh yeah, John James loved the zoo. Yeah, he was always so nice at the comments, and we all miss John James, along with Diana and Sarah, and we've lost too many people far too soon. But that's life. That's why I made sure to spend time with my father on Father's Day. Here we got some field trips. I like to psychedelic shirts there. Here's the flamingos, Lincoln Park Zoo. Christopher Dodson, check this out. You walk through the zoo. Here's the flamingos. Look at that. Yeah, getting the food there. It always cracks me up. The seagulls always try to steal their food there. Yeah. Hey, the flamingos, Lincoln Park Zoo. There they are. Merc's tuning in.
Oliver, too loud.
60 days in.
They don't like when people are loud.
Hey, let's keep on going here. So there's a food court over here, Lincoln Park Zoo. Let's go over and check out the formal garden here. We got 1147 here.
Oh, here they are, over here.
Yeah, there's a lot of these flamingos. Actually, since I'm so close, we'll go down and check out the nice view by the South Pond, and then we'll head around the outside the zoo, and we'll head up to the formal garden here. See, they got the chicks. The Chilean chicks are a little lighter color, so, but they're all starting to turn pink here, so I think they're growing up. Hey, having a picnic on the lawn there. They got the scooters. Sometimes we see the magician and the folk singers over here. Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in here and checking out the good to be back in Chicago. I'm still feel like I got jet lag even though I was in the same time zone. I'm just driving. I drove all the way from Little Rock to Effingham the whole way, and then the day before we drove from Little Rock we drove from Houston to Little Rock, and we broke up that trip. It's too long for me to drive it in one day, and then my dad had to drive 3 more hours to get to his house there in Indiana, but he dropped me off at the Effingham train station. That's why it's easy for me to just take the train back into the city, and I can get to my house by transit to my apartment. Here we'll head through the southern end, the Cafe Bra gate here, and yeah, there's the magician, and yeah, look at the kids here. Look at that, yeah. Gonna see a show. The magician usually plays some nice music there. And here you can see this little, I call it the Swan Pond. Here's the Brower Gate here. We'll head, there's a really nice view to the Chicago skyline here. Lincoln Park Zoo. And then we'll head around. There's a formal garden, but I'll probably stream till a little after the noon hour. I started earlier because there's rain coming, but people in Elgin in the western suburbs are already getting it. Do you see how it's getting kind of overcast here? But here, there's a really nice view right here. I just missed it here. There it is, under the tree here. Look at that view with the reflection in the water. Chicago skyline. It's good to be back. Yeah, it's free. Isn't that great, Christopher? Yeah, you discovered it here. You were walking through the park and you're like, hey, I can just walk in the zoo. Isn't this nice? See, you can walk around. This is where we see the beavers sometimes. I'll be looking for the beavers. And I think they're still here. They usually come out at dusk. Heck, there's some raindrops. There's some raindrops on the pond here. Here's the South Pond, so I'm feeling raindrops. That's why I started the live stream early here, but hey, look, there's field trips heading into the zoo. There's the nature boardwalk here. You got the ice cream shop. You get the slush puppy. Yeah, look at that, all the field trips here. And see how you could sit out here. How you doing? You could sit out here and have a nice outdoor patio lunch here with the nice view of the skyline with the pond there. You can go to, they got a full bar, well, not a full bar, but they got a bar. And they got lunch fare and other stuff here. Cafe Bra here is open in the summer and the fall, right near the Lincoln Park Zoo. And people rent this out for weddings, and there's a nice reception area with these wings on either side. Cafe Bra. We'll head around. We'll go by this comfort station, this historic comfort station. And I felt a few drops here, so I'm going to start heading back towards my apartment here. Eating beaver. Wow. See, people always have funny names like Mike Roch or Amanda Hug and Kiss or, you know, Adolf Oliver Butts or something, you know. And so there, that's your funny name there. Wow, you really got us with your funny, you know, like the Simpsons there, Bart calling up Mo, the bartender. Put down your glasses, I want to tinkle. Is there Amanda Hug and Kiss? Why can't I find Amanda Hug and Kiss? That was Mo there from the Simpsons. So there, eating beaver. Yeah, there you go. You outsmarted us all there. But here, look at this nice. Look at that gable. This was built in like 1888. It was restrooms for the. And look how they restored it there. Look how it's the brick with the stone. This very Carson's Cottage here, men's and ladies comfort station, 1888, restored by Lincoln Park Zoo. Joseph Lyman Silsby designed it here, and it's still here, and they use it as a volunteer station for people that volunteer at the Lincoln Park Zoo, I think. And the park has offices over there. The Lincoln Park Zoo has offices over there. That's the 2020 building on Clark Street. Hey, there's a squirrel. I missed my Lincoln Park squirrels there. We saw your friends there in Houston. The Houston squirrels were pretty tame too. They would come up looking for food. Yeah, all the Michaels. D. Michael and Michael Anderson, Chris. Yeah, maybe your standards are too high. You're right, Chris. You remember that. That's what Bart called up Mo there. Mo Sislak at the Simpsons bar there. Barney's sitting there and he's like, put down your glasses. Why can't I find Amanda Hug and Kiss? I think Barney goes, yeah, maybe your standards are too high. And everybody laughed. See, thanks for getting my Simpsons references here. What happened to these bushes? I guess they looks like they're budding out. They're just so late. Here's the other side of the Cafe Brar here. That's where the drop off is. You know, there's a whole queuing area here for the wedding receptions. Look at the landscaping, so nice here. 104 degrees in the Mojave Desert there. Thanks, Michael, for the update. Yeah, you see the squirrels there. Yeah, they're cousins down there in Houston. Cafe Brar, Lincoln Park. One Rare Gemstone, how you doing? No, we're living through scary times. We're living through scary times because due process matters. People are like, you know, so what? They're arresting people off the street and throwing them in unmarked vans. But if it happens to you or your neighbors or your relatives or your friends, or, you know, your kids are at school and you come out of immigration court and they throw you in the back of a van, it's a bunch of unmasked people and you're like, are you the police? And they're like, no, we're not the police. Well, who are you? Who gives you the authority? And they say, oh, we work for ICE. Well, show some ID. Show your face. You know, isn't this amazing? And we went through this whole thing after COVID where people resisted the mask and show your face, and they, you know, here, I'll show my face. Look, you know, people are like, you know, and, you know, I just don't want it to become like brown shirts like during the 30s in Germany where it's just a bunch of biker gangs going and throwing people in the back of vans and intimidating people. I know what people, you know, I know there's the debate between, you know, legal migration, no humans illegal, but we know that you got to have, you know, you got to go through the process. People are waiting in line to get citizenship. People jump the line and jump the river, and, you know, but thankfully, hopefully they're not going to go after the people just working in hotels and working in the fields and factories. Isn't that interesting? Because that was how this was sold to us. We're going to get the hardened criminals, the murderers and the rapists. We're going to get them off, but then it was too hard to get those people, so they went after the easy people, the maids getting off of work there, picking up their kids at school. To me, that's a cop-out. And watch scenes about this. The amount of money being spent to enforce ICE is going to be extraordinarily high, and they're cutting other government programs to fund this stuff. And so, you know, everything costs money. And I missed all the protests, the No Kings Day. I know it was going on in Houston. I went to spend time with my family. I had a vacation. If I was walking, I'm sure I would have covered the stuff downtown Chicago and other cities throughout the nation there. People know where my feelings are, but you know, I understand some people tuning in. You span the whole gamut of the political spectrum. No, everybody's going to agree with my opinion. I don't expect for you to agree with my opinion. Don't expect me to agree with yours. And I'm not going to let you hijack the conversation and intimidate people on my live stream. Create fear and disorder. We got major global conflicts that can quickly spiral out of control. Yeah, you can make all the statements you want about J.B. Pritzker. I'm not J.B. Pritzker. That's on his. Bring it up to the Illinois government. I'm just somebody that lives here. And I know you're making comments there. You can read the comments. I'll let people make up their own mind. And taxes are high. But so we'll see what the Federal Reserve says today. The Federal Reserve's going to speak. The market, I'm just amazed the market didn't sell off at all. With the, we got like World War III about to break out here. If it doesn't already broken out, we could have a major quagmire in the Mideast there. But hopefully calmer heads will prevail. Hopefully this will de-escalate. And I have to get caught up on all the political stuff going on. I've been traveling and I've been tuning it out because it depresses me. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't claim to know what the answer is. I don't expect people to listen to what I care about it. It's just, I'm going to be genuine and true to myself. And if people believe the opposite, that's your right. And I express, just do it. Don't make it personal. And America's not united. America's very divided. Still divided. We were divided under Biden. We're divided under Trump. We will continue to be divided. We got to find a way to overcome so we don't rip our country into two and destroy each other, because the rest of the world's starting to destroy each other as we step back from the world stage there and retreat from our global superpower status and retreat to isolationism. But we can't retreat because the world, that's what we discovered in World War II. We can't remain isolationist. We're too big. We're involved in the world. Our economy's connected to the world. And whether we like it or not, yeah, we want to do America first, but there will be a cost, and the world will be knocking at our doorstep, whether we like it or not. And I'm very depressed. It seems like we're relinquishing our global leadership in the world because of these domestic fights. And that's just my personal opinion. And I'm just a live streamer. I'm not a politician. I'm not a talking head there. I'm not part of mainstream media. Here's the herons. You hear the herons clucking here? Remember we saw the birding club here. We got a rerun on TikTok where they had the binoculars out here and you could check out the herons. We saw herons in Herman Park in Houston there. Now we hear the herons here. Migratory birds here, nest above the wolves in the Lincoln Park Zoo. Yeah, thanks, Nisi G. Yeah, hopefully, Juneteenth, I personally have no problem with Juneteenth. I hope it does add to the economy. People, I don't know if anybody's traveling, like 4th of July or Father's Day becomes another national holiday. Like most Americans that have ancestry that goes as deep as mine does in this country for 500 years. I have ancestors that fought on both sides of that war. Thankfully, I have more that fought for the Union than the Confederacy, but I do have some that... And for me, it's a way to celebrate that I have ancestors that actually fought for the Union, even though they were white people, and they helped end this horrible institution, and we can move beyond it, and we all can celebrate that we move beyond it, hopefully, and that's what it's about. And I'm all for it, but I know, believe me, when I stream tomorrow, we're going to get some crazy comments, and that's America. But here's the yeah, so you can take the bus right there, the 156 and the 151. Here's the Lincoln Park Zoo, the Stockton entrance. This is usually where we enter from this side, and we'll head through the formal gardens here. The rain hasn't started yet. We got 12:01, so I'll still go a little bit further here. We'll probably go to 12:15. And yeah, here's the Cafe Briar entrance to Lincoln Park Zoo. Yeah, Krista, have a good afternoon there. Yeah, good, Christopher. I'm glad you're off. Happy Juneteenth there. I know you covered it last year. I'll be able to cover it this year because I'm back in Chicago, and there'll be all kinds of picnics, and we'll go to the beach and hopefully see people celebrating tomorrow. I don't know if there's going to be any formal speeches at Daily Plaza tomorrow. I know they're doing the farmers market, so we'll go over there at lunchtime and see if there's any celebrations going on, and I'll look into it to see if there's anything I should cruise by there. So we're still in Lincoln Park here. We left the zoo. Look at the grass. As much rain as we've got, the grass is still kind of yellow, so I guess we were dry. Houston was so wet that I'm not used to seeing brown grass here, but hey, they're having a picnic. Here's the Schiller statue, and these are that's Lincoln Park West, Stockton. They got the fountain on. They got the formal gardens planted here. See how this looks in the summertime. These will grow up. I always want to play croquet here. They got some nice benches. The formal gardens here north of the Lincoln Park Zoo, and there's the Lincoln Park Conservatory through the pond there. Yeah, I noticed a lot of people doing more pejoratives with the gay, and you know, I guess people feel the license now to, you know, and I'm not gay, you know. I'm gonna cover the gay pride parade because we covered it the last 2 years, and you know, I live in Lincoln Park, Lakeview, Boys Townsend, Lakeview, friends and neighbors. It's part of our society and culture, and whether you like it or not, you can watch something else. We're gonna watch people that it just drives them nuts just to see people celebrating their own personal lifestyle choice, and they're not trying to force you or anybody else, your kids, to do it either. And if there was people doing it, that wasn't me. I'm not part of that agenda. You know, I'm confused like everybody else. I was confused by pronouns because I'm almost 50 years old. So, you know, I remember in the 80s, like Pee Wee Herman couldn't be out of the closet. He had to be in the closet because he ran a kids show. And look how that ended up. You know, he got busted at a theater because, you know, and then that he seriously damaged his career. I remember in the 80s, the AIDS epidemic. People couldn't be out of the closet. Now look at how much progress. We should celebrate that, just like Juneteenth, other civil rights, handicapped people, people with disabilities, the ADA Act, women's liberation. To me, I thought these were positive things, but I know the pendulum swings too far one way, and people think that it's gone too far, so the pendulum swings back. Now we're in another period where the culture wars are swinging the other way, and there's going to be people make fun of people, make people put people down. I was used to that. I grew up when I was in high school, gay was a pejorative to shame heterosexual people. It was a put down, and it was a put down the LGBTQ community, and that was the intention of it. Now people are starting to use it as a pejorative again. I see it in the comments. And I'm not going to stand for it. My moderators aren't going to stand for it, just because we want a polite society that accepts people. We're not bashing you. We're not forcing you to change your lifestyle. I know people felt that under wokeism. They felt like they couldn't be themselves. I'm a very tolerant person. I'm very libertarian. I'm more like Bill Maher. I criticize the left as well, because the left has some stupid ideas sometimes too, and we got to call it out, even if we're on the left. Just like the right has to call out the right. Sometimes the right has some stupid ideas too. They go too far. We all become hypocritical and arrogant, and we need to have some humble pie. I need to do it too, you know. We got to find a way to get along, but the juvenile nature of our society always comes out, and it becomes like you feel like you're back in high school snapping towels and throwing spit wads in the back of people's head. You see adults doing road rage, and you just wish people would act a little bit more responsible. But hey, we can only hope. Same with wars and lobbing missiles into humans and civilians. It's horrible what's going on in the Mideast, both sides here. Lincoln Park Conservatory, I know they're trying to stop nuclear proliferation. Good luck with that. So here's the Bell and Stratford. We always film this. Hey, look how hazy it's getting. It's getting pretty hazy back to the skyline there. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I quote the Beatles there. She came through the bathroom window. What was that, from the White Album? All we need is love. Sing, look at the Beatles Revolution song. You know, so you want a revolution. But if you're talking about, you know, hate and harming people, count me out. You know, we got to have political violence. We can't tolerate political violence on the right. We can't tolerate political violence on the left, because it just leads to horrible things. You know, and we should unilaterally and bipartisanly condemn it on both sides, whatever it comes, whether it's January 6th or what happened in Minnesota. You know, both of it's wrong. And it's this tit for tat that's going to lead to civil war if we don't squash it out before it gets so partisan that people are literally are tolerating violence, and they watch videos and see people getting run over by a car and they're cheering for the people running over the people. That you know, even if you don't agree with the protesters, I think we're losing some of our humanity here. But as the old Chinese curse, maybe live through interesting times, and we're going to live through some interesting times, I fear, over the next few years here. Here's the Bell and Stratford here. They're working on the landscaping here. There's the, hey, they got the Shakespeare statue here, Billy Shakespeare. And we got 1207 here. Yeah, I feel a few raindrops here. Hey, take a nice picture there. Hey, look at these beautiful dogs here, yeah. Oh, that's good here. Look, how you doing? That's great. Yeah, William Shakespeare, that's great. Bell and Stratford here. That's great. How you doing? Oops. That's good here. So here we'll go by the bird condo. Actually, I got time here. Let's cross the street here real quickly. I should have stayed on the other. Well, let's go film the bird condo, and then we'll cross the street because there's some landscaped area by the conservatory there. It's pretty nice. And there's the Bell and Stratford. So we go inside. Mona Me got bees there. You guys recognize this is usually where I end my walks on TikTok in the evenings when I walk home from work. But we're doing it here at lunchtime. I'm back in Chicago. But hey, we had a great Texas trip. I really enjoyed swimming in my sister's pool and playing with my nephews, riding bikes. We streamed some of the bike rides there. I rode bikes with my dad. Here, look, there's the bird condo. Look at that, the Bell and Stratford with that pagoda. Look at that. Yeah, I really hope we don't go to war. I hope we don't get drawn into this. I mean, there's nothing with so much potential downside and so little upsides getting involved in another Mideast war. And this is after the current president. Remember, and this is not a criticism. This is just a statement of where we're at. He just did that Saudi Arabia, Yemen tour where he gave a big speech where he criticized the nation builders of the Bush administration, who were Republican, who gave us the Iraq war and the Afghanistan war that lasted for 20 years or 10 years for the Iraq war, and thousands of Iraqi and Afghani people lost their lives, and hundreds and thousands of Americans lost their lives, or at least were wounded. And so as I said before, the one positive thing I consistently have said about Donald Trump is so far he hasn't gotten us into a stupid war. Let's see what happens after this week. It's very hard to be the president. I don't care who your president. Stuff happens on your watch. You got to deal with it. I'm just shocked that the first call he made after it was to Putin. He left the G8 there. Why is he letting Putin influence? I don't think Ronald Reagan would have called Gorbachev, you know, to consult with to see what Gorbachev thought. Ronald Reagan would make his own decision. It seems like Putin has Trump's ear and he's trying to influence him to get him back in the G8. I might be wrong about that, but did anybody else notice that? And your EU's like scratching their heads. And I want someone from MAGA to explain it, or MAGA, however I'm supposed to pronounce it. Why does the current president seem to take what Putin says more than our allies? he seems to side with Putin more than Zelensky, even though we're funding Zelensky. It seems like he wants Putin to win. Am I wrong about this? He wants Putin to help out with the Iran situation. He wants, is he just ceding Iran to Russia's sphere of influence like he wants to do with Ukraine? Is he just ceding, you know, Syria? That was a big part of the Syrian war. Russia was influencing Syria, and we forget that. And Russia didn't want ISIS either, you know. And is it the old Godfather thing? You know, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Is that what he's doing with Putin? Even though Putin's technically our enemy, he's treating him like a friend. So, you know, he doesn't attack us. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's all beyond my. I'm not a international law advisor.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, Michael, it's very hard now because I want to support Israel too, because historically we were allies of Israel, but Netanyahu is different. Netanyahu is doing this because he knows once he stops these wars, he'll probably be out of power. So it's this strange thing where he like keeps wars going to stay in power. Am I wrong about this? Has anybody else noticed this about Netanyahu? And I think Putin is the same way. It's like once the war's over, people might turn on him, and so he has to keep the war going, and that's a dangerous situation for the world to be in. That we got these major conflicts that are, I mean, it's affecting flights into Dubai. You know, it's affecting the global price of oil. I mean, these are major things. And I'm just shocked that it hasn't affected the stock market more than it has. It shows you the stock market is not the real economy. The billionaires have their own economy, and they don't need the rest of us. And why you think AI's investment's so profitable? They're going to replace all of us with AI robots, in effect, and the hell with the rest of us. They just want us to be passive consumers. But how are we going to be able to consume stuff if we can't be part of the, you know, that was the whole trade-off with we'll create jobs. Now your job's going to be replaced by Coco the robot. But hey, I'm just riffing here. So here, I'm going to head back. I'm going to go back to work here. Yeah. We got to get ourselves back to the garden. Go back. We'll sing Inagata de Vida. Inagata de Vida, baby. You know, I'll always be true. It's motivated by greed and vanity. As my grandfather, my Melungeon grandfather said, he said, that's what's wrong with the world. Greed, hate, and selfishness. And there's a lot of money to be made off of war. That's the tragedy. But here, we'll head through the flowers here. We're by the Conservatory here. And thanks for tuning in to our little YouTube stream. So here's the plan for the rest of the day. We're going to see if this rain moves through. If it's still raining at 5 o'clock, I'll postpone my evening stream until I can get a break with the rain. But if it's not raining at 5, I'll try to get a TikTok live stream in, because I missed the TikTok this morning. People are probably looking to see where I'm at, and I feel another raindrop there. So we'll head back to work. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching here, and glad to be back in Chicago. And we'll head downtown tomorrow, and we'll celebrate Juneteenth, and then it'll be Friday, and then we'll be the weekend. I think there's Pride festivities, Pride Fest or something going on. It's not the parade. The parade's next weekend. Oops. And there's plenty of other stuff that's going to be happening next weekend, and then we'll head into the 4th of July, and we got NASCAR coming up. My cousin's going to head into Chicago, it seems like, for the 4th of July. You guys might remember my cousin with the tattoos there. He liked the anime, so we probably will check out Milwaukee Avenue. We'll probably go up to Logan Square, Avondale, around 4th of July and check out some of those anime shops that we checked out. We'll go to Bucket of Blood. I like Bucket of Blood. It's a bookstore, plus they got all kinds of novelties there. Here's the Moore umbrella here, Lincoln Park. Look at this nice. I'll leave you with the beautiful view here And thanks for tuning in. Here's what this is about. More artist Susan Giles here. The yellow umbrella represents Amy Krauss Rosenthal's signature symbol of spirit in one of her projects, Beckoning of the Lovely. It's a public piece of art here, this Moore umbrella. You see how it's reversed here. Spirit of life. So hey, we all want more. I want more out of life. Hey, look at that nice view back to the John Hancock here. So we'll leave you with this. There's the pagoda. So hey, Ernie, D. Michael, Christopher, thanks for the live stream. Yeah, check out Christopher Dotson there. You got some good content. You're still posting about prices are too high. I agree with you. Prices are too high. And we still got inflation even in the area of Trump. Imagine that. Yeah, One Road Gemstone. That's okay. You can check the reruns there. One Road Gemstone. Thanks for watching when you can. That's why we do the reruns. Thanks all the Michaels, all the Mary Therese, and all the other Ernie. Thanks all Chris. Thanks everybody for being on here. And hey, we'll see you. Hopefully after 5 tonight, we'll see what the rain's doing. Have a great day. Nicolene there. Thanks for tuning. Taco, thanks for being on. I really appreciate it. Taco jalapeno sauce. Have a great afternoon there. Yeah, we'll see you later. All right, thanks a lot.